So you've decided it's time to buy some Bitcoin. But how do you know if now is the right time to buy? Have you thought about where you're going to buy Bitcoin, the best way to buy Bitcoin, or how much Bitcoin to buy? What about safely storing your Bitcoin after you've bought it? We'll be addressing all of these important questions in this video. Now, if this is your first time looking into Bitcoin, you may also feel like you've missed the boat, like you're too late to the party and most of the opportunity is already over. As shown here, people felt like this in 2010 already, only 1 year after Bitcoin's inception, when Bitcoin was not even worth $1. So let us reassure you that this couldn't be further from the truth. You have not missed the boat. The party is just getting started, and if you buy Bitcoin today, you are actually still considered an early adopter. And we'll discuss why later in this video, so be sure to stick around for that. But let's first start with the question, is now the right time to buy?
So how do you know when it's a good time to buy? We hear this all the time, and it's a good question. The answer is that for the average person, it's less about when you buy and more important how you buy. Let us explain. Too many investors are obsessed with trying to time the market and buy at the so-called perfect price. From experience, we can assure you that this is both nearly impossible to do in practice and it's incredibly stressful. What generally ends up happening to investors who try play this game is one of two things. Either they wait too long to buy and are forced to watch the price move higher without them, or they buy Bitcoin thinking they've caught the perfect bottom, only to have the price fall further in the short run. And this causes frustration, panic, and the investor ends up selling at a loss to prevent any further pain. It's worth remembering that even the most experienced investors in the world cannot accurately or perfectly time the market. So what's the solution? Well, good investors remove all emotion from the equation, and in order to do that, we turn to a well-known investment strategy called dollar cost averaging. Instead of trying to be clever and buy at the perfect spot, we average our purchases over a longer period of time. Dollar cost averaging is a particularly powerful strategy for a volatile asset class like Bitcoin for two main reasons. First, high amounts of volatility can be very intimidating and scary, particularly for new investors. It's difficult to buy at a time when the price just keeps falling, for example. And therefore what often ends up happening is that fear and indecision prevents you from getting your money invested. Dollar cost averaging removes this decision-making process from the equation entirely. It ensures you get your money into the market in a disciplined, consistent, and responsible way. Second, dollar cost averaging is one of the most profitable ways to buy Bitcoin for most people in the long run, especially if you set it up in the right way. What do we mean by this?
Well, the best way to dollar cost average is to set up an automated recurring purchase instruction. This automatically buys Bitcoin for you on either a monthly, weekly, or daily basis, and it buys no matter the price without any involvement from you. If the price is high, it buys. If the price is low, it also buys. And this allows us to get a nice average purchase price over time. Let's look at a quick example to see how effective this can be. Bitcoin hit an all-time high price of around $69,000 back in November 2021. Over the next few months, Bitcoin fell almost 78% to around $15,000. Now, if you bought Bitcoin in one lump sum at $69,000, on paper, you'd obviously have lost a lot of money. In fact, you'll still be down 55% today with price at around $30,000. But if you started dollar cost averaging at $69,000, making small daily purchases of Bitcoin, you'd be up a very respectable 9% on your investment. That is a 9% profit versus a 55% loss, a huge, huge difference. And that's how most new investors think. They assume because the market price is down nearly 80%, that everyone's portfolio must be down 80%. But that assumes everyone bought 100% of their portfolio at the exact top of the market, and that's just not true. A great many Bitcoiners have daily automated purchases set up, which allows them to dollar cost average their savings into Bitcoin and receive a solid return on their investment, even when the market is down. So is now the right time to buy? Well, with the tried and trusted dollar cost averaging strategy, it's always the right time to buy.
So where can you buy Bitcoin? Or more specifically, where can you buy Bitcoin the right way with automated recurring purchases? Well, our personal favorite is Swan Bitcoin. They are an ethical, Bitcoin-only company with an excellent track record. They make buying Bitcoin really easy. Simply download the app, go through their easy sign-up process, and set up the recurring purchase instructions. We've put a link in the description below, and if you sign up via this link, you'll get $10 worth of free Bitcoin into your Swan account. Swan serves more than 100 countries at the moment, and they are expanding. But if your country is not yet supported, don't worry. There are many other reputable Bitcoin companies out there. We'll put up a list on the screen now for great options in other locations around the world. Most of these companies do allow you to set up an automated recurring purchase instruction, which, as we've shown, is the key functionality that we're looking for.
So, how much Bitcoin should you buy? Or better put, how do you know what sort of capital investment is right for you? Well, there are some basic guidelines to think about, but ultimately this is a personal question that differs from person to person. For example, are you someone who can tolerate risk well? Does volatility cause you sleepless nights? How old are you and what is your time horizon? If you're younger and happy to invest for the long run, great, you can afford to be a bit more aggressive. But you may be retiring soon and need to withdraw some of your capital in the short term, in which case you may need to be more conservative with your investment allocation. A mind-blowing statistic is that no one has ever lost money investing and holding Bitcoin for a 5-year period. And considering that there have been some massive drawdowns in the Bitcoin price, this should give you some comfort that if you buy and hold Bitcoin over the long term, you will be well rewarded. That said, a good approach might be to start with a small allocation, only a very small percentage of your net worth or monthly salary. And as your knowledge and confidence levels grow, you can increase your exposure to Bitcoin accordingly. The most important thing is that you find a number that you are personally comfortable with. Do not run before you can walk. If you invest too much before you are ready, you will find yourself making all the wrong decisions when there's market volatility. And for this reason, it's important to be conservative, especially while you are still learning.
And here's the beautiful thing with Bitcoin. It offers the potential for asymmetric returns. In other words, returns which are far greater than anything else in the traditional financial system. Bitcoin is the best performing asset by a very, very large margin when viewed over a 5-year period in history. And this means that you don't need to take massive risks by overinvesting. You don't have to put a huge percentage of your net worth on the line. And this is such a powerful idea. Only a small 5% portfolio allocation to Bitcoin, for example, could beat a 95% allocation to any other investment. And in fact, it has done just that over the long term. Most investors have just not fully grasped the significance of this fact. By only risking a small percentage of your portfolio, in this case 5%, you have the ability to massively increase your returns on your overall portfolio. This is what we mean when we say Bitcoin is an asymmetric investment opportunity. So to answer the question of how much Bitcoin to buy, start small. Set up a recurring purchase instruction to automatically buy Bitcoin every day or every week, and allow your portfolio to slowly grow over time together with your knowledge and conviction.
So what do you do after you've bought Bitcoin? Well, this step is actually the most important of all. You need to take possession of your Bitcoin, also known as self-custody. Third-party custodians are notoriously unreliable. By entrusting a third party with your Bitcoin, you open yourself up to unnecessary risks, and all too often, these risks become a reality. Bankruptcies, poor lending practices, hacks, general negligence, or just plain old fraud. So-called crypto exchanges are constant targets. They are notorious for dodgy dealings and unethical practices. This is why we recommend only ethical Bitcoin companies with a proven track record. But even still, we apply a healthy dose of skepticism and caution in all cases. The rule is simple. Never trust a third party with your money, no matter what assurances they give you. What you'll find, however, is that ethical Bitcoin exchanges will always encourage you to take self-custody of your assets, whereas the not-so-ethical crypto companies will try to persuade you to put your complete trust and faith in them for your custody requirements. And that is a major red flag. There's simply no excuse to not take self-custody of your Bitcoin when it's as easy as it is today. Always remember, buying Bitcoin the right way is a 2-step process. Step 1 is the purchase on an ethical Bitcoin exchange, and step 2 is taking ownership of your Bitcoin, transferring it away from the exchange and safely into your personal custody into a wallet that only you control. For beginners, we recommend an app called Moon Wallet for self-custody. It's free and very simple to use. We've actually created a really easy tutorial to walk you through the entire setup process from start to finish. We'll put a link to it down in the description below. Be sure to check it out.
If you're watching this video right now, let us assure you that you have not missed the boat. Here are just a few quick insights into some Bitcoin fundamentals which make it the most incredible wealth creation opportunity of our time. Hash rate, the measure of how secure the network is steadily increasing, with companies building millions of dollars worth of infrastructure to secure the Bitcoin network. Bitcoin adoption is growing at a rapid pace, with new users rapidly coming into the ecosystem and more people dedicating time to new development and education alike. More retailers are accepting Bitcoin, and Bitcoin businesses are popping up all over the world. Institutions and financial giants are chomping at the bit to invest in Bitcoin, and recently the world's largest company, along with many others, have applied for a Bitcoin ETF, granting them the ability to buy Bitcoin themselves and for their clients. And when this happens, a flood of capital will pour into the Bitcoin market and drive the price much, much higher. And finally, political support is growing day by day, and politicians and nation states are becoming increasingly interested in Bitcoin. In fact, currently 4 US presidential candidates openly support Bitcoin. And perhaps the biggest endorsement so far is that El Salvador has adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, and many other small countries are paying close attention. These are just a few of the brief insights into some of the developments taking place right now. The opportunity that Bitcoin presents is truly massive, and because of how fast things are moving, there's really not a minute to waste if you want to maximize this wealth creation opportunity. Now, if you'd like to take a deeper look into these fundamentals to better understand why Bitcoin has such great potential, we suggest watching this video right now. See you there.